Welcome back to the shed and Scotty Cigars. This week, or this video, is the Trinidad Coloniales. Hi and welcome to Scotty Cigars for the fourth review, I think it is. Today is the Trinidad Coloniales. It's a 40, I think it's a 43 or 44 ring gauge cigar. I should have checked before taking it out of the humidor. Smells musky, should we say, musky. It's a little bit deeper in its fragrance than, for example, a Hoyo de Monterey. But I mean, I like Trinidad, and this is probably going to sound weird, but they do tend to smoke better on colder days when there's cold air going through the stick for some reason, or I prefer them on a cold day in front of a fire. So it's a good evening to have one. It's about 8 to 10 degrees out here tonight, probably a bit warmer in the shed, but yeah, it's a good cigar. Nice golden ring on it with the Trinidad emblem, and obviously the pigtail at the end, the pigtail cap. It looks like a dual or double cap on the end. The foot is very nice to touch. It's quite it's not firm and it's not soft, but it's inconsistent and when you squeeze it. So there are some tough bits and there are some softer sections. It's kind of a bit of a lumpy cigar. I mean, the wrapper itself, there are veins on it, but it's almost as if the wrapper is extremely thin and the cigar is being constructed with a lot of filler and binder right the way to the outside of the cigar, and they've just put one wrap leaf on it. But I'm guessing it's probably not the case, but that's just what it looks like. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up. If you can see, if it focuses, all in all, it's a nice cigar. It's slightly bigger than a Corona. I couldn't tell you what the precise name for the size is. It's the label. Nice label. I like Trinidad's. Good. Now let's get this cut. I've got a cutter in here. My black Phantom cutter. Just gonna cut the end off. Nice, good test draw. This cigar has been kept at 74% humidity, and it's been at 74% humidity for about 9 months. So it's pretty humid, which probably means it's going to go out at some point, but we'll see. Usually a humid cigar tends to require a bit. Now that smells good. It smells very oaky. Straight off the bat, wow. I haven't had one of these for a while. Very musky oak, a sweet oak. Probably a bit of like cappuccino, like a little bit of coffee. I'd say oak and coffee would be the perfect way to describe this Trinidad so far. And I know it probably doesn't make sense, but the heaviness of the smoke, like the thickness of the smoke on the back of your throat and through your sinuses and stuff, it's a lot thicker and rougher than For example, the Cohiba, which was much smoother. Wow, there's a huge spider on the floor. So yeah, it's a real thick, fragrant cigar. So anyway, I'll crack on with this. I'm gonna get that spider because I don't like them, and I'll let you know what it's been like towards the end. But I rarely have a bad Trinidad. The Vihir is fantastic. The Topaz is fantastic. It's now very expensive to purchase, but they are great cigars. Yeah, I'll have a smoke of this. Wow, that's nice. And I'll come back to you. Cheers. So I'm coming into the last quarter of the Trinidad Coloniales. It's just starting to play up a little bit as we're getting towards the end. I don't know whether you can see that, but I'm sure it'll probably sort itself out, put a bit of heat into it, and everything will probably be okay. In terms of the body of the cigar, this is medium to full. I've had Coloniales cigars that are not quite as strong in terms of the body of this one. So yeah, I think it's got stronger over time. I've had this cigar for about 18 months, and the box was a 2014 box. Just gonna take that ring off. Going through the process from lighting it to where we are now, it's been a good cigar. It's been quite strong. It's not smooth, it's more a rugged cigar, which might be why I think it's nicer in cooler weather where everything's a little bit sort of sharper, and you've got a bit of more of a sharper, rougher cigar to go with that cold air. It's certainly woody, with like a touch of coffee and a hint of sweetness, which I would put down to not just general sweetness, kind of like a little bit of honey on the tip of your tongue. It's not coming from the wrapper, it's not like actually on the tip of your tongue, but there is a hintness of honey in there. So it's a pretty strong cigar, but it's a good cigar. Not one I'd recommend for a beginner. There are plenty of other Cuban cigars that a beginner should probably be trying first rather than this. This is it is a 44 ring gauge, and it's 5.1 inches in length, which I think is something like 132 mil, is it? 134 mil, something like that. But it's a good cigar, not for a beginner. I personally think cooler weather does it more justice. And we've been smoking it for about an hour and 15 minutes to get to this point. So there's probably a good hour and 20, hour and a half at least on this. Depends how quickly you like to smoke, how hot you like to keep your cigars. I like to keep them fairly cool. I can make a Petit Robusto last well over an hour if I really wanted to. A cooler cigar for me kicks out more flavour, but each to their own. I know people, and some people who do reviews like to keep the cigars very hot, and they'll finish off a Petit Robusto in 25-30 minutes, no problem. I prefer to take things a little bit slower, but yeah, good cigar. I rate it, depends on the cigar. If I was rating this one, which I should do, this is an 8 out of 10. Previous Coloniales, they do vary a little bit in the box, I've found, have gone right up to 9.5. out of 10. So I've had some really, really very good Coloniales, to the point where I'd never need to smoke anything other than a Coloniales. But they're not all great. But you pay a premium for Trinidad, so unlike Cohiba, where they're pretty much very consistent, I think Trinidad are less consistent. Not necessarily a bad thing, but I like to know what I'm getting. So this one for me is an 8. But yeah, still a great cigar. I wouldn't turn it down. If someone was to hand me one, wow, you know. And I even bought a box, so they can't be all that bad. If you enjoyed this review, please hit the subscribe button, like the video. All your comments are welcome. And remember that every cigar is different. So what I have tasted and experienced with this cigar, you may have completely different experience. After all, they're all handmade, and every Cuban cigar is different. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button, and feel free to comment. Cheers. Thank you.